you understand this term of new sensorium?
Well, for me, it's all about like kind of connected with the idea of sensing, because the first beginning of like this piece, I started making sculpture out of the sensors. And then, but I didn't use it for like interactive or like interacting with the sensor, but I just purely curious about like how this is being made and like which kind of shape they're having as pure objects, you know. So I didn't connect any like electronic signal or stuff, but just to see that like how the sensor is like around in our society. So from there also like all our cells are like sensors and stuff, and I always feel about this when I'm dancing. The good dancer, I think, is like really also having really good sensors to see the space and also the audience, and it's total like interactive objects, you know.
But sensorium could mean something different for the artists doing installations and for the dancer or performer.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
But no, I don't think like it's necessarily like different, because like, okay, like if you like only focus on like a dance skill or a dancer, it is like a different term. But then when you like more expand the idea that like also like it's a frame, you know, the stage is frame, and also the museum show is frame, and it's just like how you create the atmosphere there, you know. And when I'm like, for example, I used to like dance for like a Buto dance company, and then the choreographer was always saying like, you don't dance with the muscle, but think about how you're changing the air in the space, and you're just like devised to change the air. And in that sense, like also the sculpture is like doing this, like reflecting this idea that if you put the sculpture in the space and then it changed the air, it has different energy to the space that how it used to be. So I kind of like try to think that each element or sculpture or the objects in the space are also a dancer or like, like a performer, actor, and they have their own role. And I try to make them shine on the stage, so-called exhibition space, you know.
So that the audience can feel that new sense of sensing.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I use a lot of like I guess like lots of audience never saw this kind of material that I use, like liquid crystals and piezoelectric sheets, that it's all like unfamiliar material. So you're always like kind of like trying to understand, you know, and it's not necessary that these things are like interacting with you, but just to kind of like standing in front of like unfamiliar objects and like unfamiliar subject, it's already like you're trying to sense this whole space and what's happening, you know.
And the body is quite important for you, isn't it?
It is, but
especially in this work you are presenting deep signals.
Yeah, so I presented this video as part of the installation, but my piece always like kind of half standing by itself and half part of the installation. Then anyway, so the surrounding installation, I really focus on like inorganic material and like new materials. But then in the video, I wanted to show like something that goes backward. If I'm like trying to construct like this each object as like inorganic material that is like kind of having a physicality, and then in the video I wanted to put the human being, human body that trying to becomes inorganic material. So it's kind of like shifting the idea that taking out the humanity from the human and then putting them to the other plastics. And in the video, I put them in the old DDR radio station in Berlin. And then this radio station not being used, but then I put them as a sort of the character as mediums, you know? So it's kind of like hyper spiritual people. And then they're working on to become a thing that is like a total, in a sense, total sensor that try to sense like hyper message from somewhere else. To become a thing, I was like taking a reference from the philosopher called Mario Perignola, and he's an Italian philosopher and professor. And he talks about like how we can become a thing as an object, our body, and how we can expand the view of seeing the world through this. So I found it's pretty funny that he really indicated 8 actions that you can do to become a thing. So it was like tattooing, genetic engineering, and also makeup, all this kind of body modification. And then I put the 6 actress there, and then they're all doing this in the abandoned radio station. So in the sense, it's really like a landscape kind of video that is not necessarily has certain like a timeline, but it's just like a window that is there, and they're just like keep doing, it's a loop, so they keep trying to become a thing. And then I think this all action is like really performative stuff, the tattooing stuff. So then the viewer also like kind of, for example, like when you see a person getting tattooed and the needle goes inside the skin, it really like moves the audience. And I really like this kind of quasi situation that like they're trying to become unphysical, and then we really like see as super physical situation. So I think it's really important that like not to like form as a one like action, but then it has so many like feeling and so many surface that is like complex like ourselves, you know.
Did you work with different media ever since?
I'm like most distracted person ever, and I cannot focus on one thing. I think my work is like really about that like I cannot like make one piece, but then I can make a situation out of like hyper like meta concentrating on the whole thing at the same time.
So what you are doing right now quite fits to your own
Exactly.
character.
Exactly. Like so hyperactive, you know.
So thanks a lot for being here.
Yeah,
we are
thank
really
you.
looking forward to your piece. Thank you.
Well, yeah. Thank you.